Hello, this is Cuckoo. I'm here at Superbooth 26, and I'm at one of my, when it comes to modular, I think Make Noise is one of the makers of modular stuff that I look up to very much with a great deal of anticipation. And then when I come close to it, I don't understand much of it. But it's whenever I see people demo this style, I get blown away. For instance, this guy here, Walker, he is constantly blowing me away with his demos. So now, I think I would love to have a little chat with you about how you would start out. How do you set up a kick drum that you can play loosely and interestingly and go different places? And because modular, I come from a very rigid kind of a sequencer electron background, and that in modular you could do that too, but I feel like I'm missing out on the looseness of modular. So could you, what do you feel about modular?
What do I feel about modular? Boy, that's an open-ended question that I love. I love that, especially in a place like Superbooth or places where lots of people are coming and the patch is constantly changing. Somebody might come and say, I am looking to do this or this or this, and I kind of alter the patch to fit what they're asking for, and then the next thing I know, whatever patch I was working with before is completely different now, and it builds into a way that I didn't really know was going to happen, and so it's constantly evolving. Even though I know these instruments pretty well at this point, I don't know where the patch is going to go today, and I never do, and that is something that keeps me from ever just kind of becoming bored with it. In fact, I couldn't even go back to what I was doing 20 minutes ago if I wanted to, unless I really spent more time than it would be worth to do so. That's one of the things I like about modular.
Yeah, and that's wonderful, and I want to be that guy that can kind of navigate this in that kind of free manner, but in order to come to that point, you need to know a lot, I feel like. So if we would kind of start out, picture you're in a venue, and you haven't set up anything. You're gonna start out a little.
Dreams like that. I'm in a venue and I haven't set anything up yet.
Just how would you start out to kind of feel out the beginning of the show, or
Sure. I mean, usually if I'm playing live, I usually do start from somewhere that I already have some kind of patch. But I like to start from something really simple, and I mean, I'm even gonna start by just turning off some channels entirely.
So what's left now?
So what I'm doing now is I'm simply I'm activating the polymaths, which is operating kind of like as a clock divider. So I have a channel that is just being hit by gates every once in a while, and then it's sending an oscillator through to an output.
Is the oscillator in the polymath, or is it?
The oscillator is in the multi-wave. So these modules are each 8 channels of whatever it is. I've got 8 channels of functions, 8 channels of oscillation, and they're just running through 8 VCAs that are a mixer, so that I have 8 voices available to work with here.
Oh, that's really neat and clean.
I've taken the mixer and turned off most of the channels, so that we're really just hearing this same original channel being hit once and again, just each time through.
And there's a bit of randomness to this pulse we're hearing now.
Yeah, so it's being controlled by a gate sequence. Let me just check what I'm doing. In fact, no, it's not actually, because I had changed the patch a few minutes ago when somebody asked me to do something different, so I forgot about it. But see, that's why I like to feel it out. Maybe I don't know where that pulse is coming from, but instead I'm going to feel where it's going to take me rather than where it's coming from, right?
And do we hear a tad of reverb delay on this?
There is a tad, yeah. I've got the Plexiphone here, which is a new module that we just announced, so it's adding a little space to it. I'm going to keep that on the subtle side because you wanted to start simple, so that's where we'll go for to start. So let's see here. So I'm gonna show just really quick how we could make these envelopes a different shape and make it more or less complex on what's coming out the output. But I mean, we're kind of really gonna be better suited by just keeping that fairly short for this particular channel. Now this pulse, this clock that we're having coming in is driving a clock divider to choose when all these different channels open. So you kind of see that they're opening in different patterns. I might pull a different one, like say channel 6.
Yeah, nice.
So they're tuned to 2 different notes that I didn't choose. I mean, I chose them, but I don't remember choosing them.
Yeah, that was earlier.
Right, it was earlier, yeah.
And these are currently on the same oscillator.
Yes, well, they're all coming from that same module that is 8 oscillators. Yeah. I'm also gonna go ahead and do a thing where I have them modulate through their wavetables a bit, maybe.
So that's a wavetable oscillator. Yeah.
It's a wavetable oscillator, yes. So we have 8 channels, but they're each 2 oscillators with their own wavetable, and the wavetables can be modulated automatically by these built-in LFOs. So if I kind of change the tables a bit, we'll start to hear some different timbres on here. Now we have a little bit of evolution to the sound. I'm also thinking we'll use some of these higher channels to, they're not going to get activated quite as often. So maybe I'll make them a little longer too. And the way I can do that is by spreading my fall times to the right, which means the fall times on the right are a little longer than the ones on the left.
Yeah.
The channels on the right are being activated less frequently too, because it's driven by this clock divider.
And this is, right now, you're kind of making a system in your head to navigate forward.
Yeah, basically, because you put me on the spot, which I love, but now I'm gonna feel out how is this kind of like creating a melody that's generating from these different parts that are coming together, and what can I do with it, right?
Yeah.
So one thing I think I might do is take one of these function generator outputs, maybe one of the ones that I'm not using, like channel 4. I'm not hearing channel 4 coming out anywhere, but I'm going to take the function generator output and use it to modulate something else in the system. I'm going to use it to modulate the brightness of that echo and reverb. So when channel 4 goes, we'll get a little burst of brightness in the reverb.
Yeah, I can hear. Nice. I'm picturing a kind of early morning gig in a beach resort somewhere.
We are. I don't think it's morning yet or anymore, but it still kind of feels like early morning here at Superbooth on Saturday morning today.
Yeah.
I don't know if it feels like a beach exactly, but you know, well, let's transport ourselves there if we can. Maybe we'll do a little tiny bit of size modulation as well. Just let that room size of the reverb open up every time the last channel comes through, which will also be the longest one.
Feeling the vibe. One thing that, as a total noob question, is like, what are inputs and what are outputs? You've marked it clearly, but sometimes I just, find myself looking.
When you ask that, do you mean which jack is which? Or
Yeah.
do you mean like what's the definition of those words?
No, I feel like you have this little arrow going into, there must be an input, and then you have the square around it. Is that an output?
There is a sort of common design language to many of the Make Noise modules that has been developed over the years by Tony, who designs our faceplates and panels and really is the mastermind behind these designs. There's almost always, if you see a square around a jack, it's a CV input. So that's a control input that lets you control the parameter. Circles around the jack are gate inputs, so those are going to make something happen at the moment the gate comes in. Arrows pointing in and out will tell you it's an output,
audio,
or it's an input, whether it's pointing in. Yes, usually audio or signal, which can actually be audio or control depending on what the module's doing. Yeah.
And here we have something more specific, like color coded.
Yeah, we have these are outputs. They're outputs of these oscillators, and they're just numbered. But then there is some color coding that has to do with this is a module that, because we're using 8 voices of it, there's several different ways to control it so that you can control the 8 voices with simple signals or just one signal controlling 8 voices. So we use colors to kind of demonstrate which mode you're in terms of how it's going to control it.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, arrows, circles, boxes, these are kind of the unsung heroes of the designs, because they're always telling you physically you're seeing that the portion of the circuit is visually demonstrated on the panel. You have an input here that goes through this VCA to its output, and here you have a control input that opens that VCA so that the output can come out. And once you start to have a sense of what something like a VCA does, you can look at this and you're not needing to take the time to read a word or match a word with a concept in your head. You just see the motion of the signal, and that's what the flow of the whole synthesizer is based on.
Yeah, nice. So now in our gig here, we want to kind of elevate this to a new level. Maybe introduce some rhythmical elements even.
Yeah, let's think about that. So one thing I'm thinking about doing is creating some kind of faster and less on the grid, but within the grid kind of extra rhythm.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do is I'm going to use my Morphogene here, which has a lot of sounds loaded into it. This records and plays back sounds of any kind. I often like to use concrete sounds, field recording, lots of things that you might not even use for music normally, but in this case, let's try to use it for music. I'm just going to audition it really quick by patching it into an aux input and listen. It's the sound of a train. Okay, so that's the sound of a train. We'll incorporate that, but instead of droning it over everything else like we just did, we'll try to create a bit of rhythm that can bring the train in at specific times in a very short ways that turn it into kind of like a percussive pulse, right?
Yeah, cool.
So I'm going to take another one of the later outputs of the polymath, this channel 7, which doesn't hit all that often. And when it does, it goes pretty slowly. We can see it visually indicated there. And I'm going to patch that into GTE, gestural time extractor module.
Sounds cool.
Sounds appropriate, I think, because we want to extract some timing information from this gestural motion that's happening. And whenever it hits, it's going to cause these channels to light along with it. We can see it driving those little outputs.
Yeah.
I might have to poke around to see which one's going to work best for this particular use. But one of the things we have is an output that outputs a little pulse whenever that channel changes, right? So that comes through and flashes a bunch every time channel 7 goes. Okay, let's go ahead and do this now. I've talked for long enough. I've put the Morphogene into that channel. It's the input, as we can tell by the arrow, just like we were looking at before. I'm going to take this pulse output and put it into the control input. So when I turn this up, that's going to start opening this up every time channel 7 fires. First thing I notice is it's a lot slower than I was first thinking it should be.
Yeah.
We were talking about adding some faster rhythmic interest. So I'm going to actually use a different channel instead of channel 7 for this. Let's try channel 2. It hits a lot more frequently. There we go. Just gonna turn some other things down so we can hear it. Oh, it suddenly got very loud in the room. We'll turn some other channels down to let that one come through a little more. There we go. You can hear that it's kind of like almost like a ripping cardboard sound or something like that.
Yeah. A little critter doing some stuff.
Even that feels to me like it might be a little more, a little less active than we maybe originally wanted it to be. I don't know.
Yeah, but this is the thing, like this is what you got, and then you can make a choice, like, oh, do we go in this direction now?
I'm just going to use a different signal to drive the GTE, just real quick, and see what happens when I do it. It's pretty loud in this room. I can't hear very well exactly.
Yeah, I have headphones. So I hear it really clearly. It sounds beautiful, actually.
Does that sound okay? Like it's integrating all right, or is it more?
Yeah.
Now somebody's ripping cardboard in my ear.
No, it's kind of in the background. It sounds a little bit like tamed and not super bright.
So I think I might then. We can use the overall output level of what's driving that GTE to make that happen more or less frequently. Kind of like we're adding ratcheting sound of a different rhythms in between the steps. I can sort of hear it. It's pretty loud in this room. I'm just going to drop it down to a lower level so that it's not overpowering the signal at all.
You want to listen to it in the headset? You can borrow mine for a second, for reference.
Here. Oh, there we go. I'm going to use that sound instead. It's more of like a little blip.
Yeah. That is nice.
I might consider changing up the sound of this melody that is playing over and over again.
Yeah.
I don't know how long this set is supposed to be. Usually when I have a morning beach set, they don't let me play for more than about 15 minutes before everybody says, go jump in the water, man.
Yeah. Yeah, or go to work. Maybe like a final, we break it with a final sharp something that just glides above everything.
Okay, sounds good. I think that a real go-to for me is just letting the effects start to fill in the space even more. We could make the brightness of that verb be more starting from a higher point. The size get hit a little harder with the modulation. And maybe we'll do, I don't even know what's going to happen when I do this. Just taking this steady gate out of the GTE and switching this from reverb to delay as we go. Switch this up too.
This is the sound of everyone hopping into the water, splashing.
Splashes, yeah. Maybe I'll just do a little different set of wavetables as well. Get us something a little more digital sounding. detune the oscillators a little bit. Make some of these envelopes start to ring out longer.
Now the waves are hitting the shore.
Add some higher notes to it. Let the waves take over. Hopefully we're not clipping your input now.
No, it's not clipping it.
Yeah. Now I'll probably start to make my gate pattern that I'm driving everything with more sparse so that fewer notes come through. Let that ring out. All right, everybody go swim, I guess.
Well, thank you. Lovely. That's lovely.
Thank you so much, Cuckoo. Thanks for stopping by the booth. It's been great to talk to you. Good to patch with you. I hope you feel at least a little bit more confident that you might be able to play with Modular too. I feel like you could do it.
I feel like I could do it. I need some time and I need to focus some time to sit down with it and really get into the mindset. And
I think from having watched videos that you made, I see this sort of the way that you approach instruments, and sitting down with it seems to be the way you go. You're sitting down, feeling it out, seeing what happens, and that's the name of the game when you're really learning an instrument, and it can be really rewarding. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Make noise, everybody. Make some noise for Make Noise, and they can find you guys at makenoise.com.
MakeNoiseMusic.com. Yeah.
Music.
Yeah. All right.
And we saw some. Did we see something new?
Yes, the plexophone was the reverb and delay effect that we kind of added more and more of the further we went in there. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I personally haven't seen the multi-wave, so that was cool.
That's also pretty new. We just put that out a few months ago. So yeah,
Nice. Well, there you go. Thank you.
Thanks, Cuckoo.